Ferrari's team has found a legal loophole in the FIA regulations that lets them modify Hamilton's car, allowing him to be 1.5 seconds faster than Max Verstappen's race pace during the Bahrain tests. Stick around until the end, and I'll reveal all the details. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. Deep within the heart of Maranello, shrouded in secrecy and guarded by layers of high-security clearance, a select group of Ferrari's most elite engineers, aerodynamicists, powertrain specialists, and race strategists work tirelessly under the cover of darkness, refining what could be the most audacious and groundbreaking Formula One development in modern history. The Ferrari facility, already a beacon of innovation, has been transformed into something more, an impenetrable bunker where the team's most daring project is being prepared for its ultimate test. This isn't just another step forward in performance gains, nor is it a conventional upgrade designed to trim tenths off a lap time. No, what is being built here is a calculated revolution, an aggressive exploitation of a loophole buried so deep in the FIA's 2025 technical regulations that even the governing body's sharpest minds have failed to detect it. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. With the motorsport world anxiously awaiting Lewis Hamilton's long-anticipated debut in Ferrari Red at the Australian Grand Prix, the whispers within the inner circles of Formula One's technical community suggest that Ferrari is on the brink of unleashing something so radical, so meticulously engineered, that it could rewrite the competitive landscape before the season even gets into full swing. This is no ordinary race car. This is an engineering weapon, a machine so finely tuned that its potential advantage borders on science fiction. If the latest simulations are to be believed, Hamilton could be lapping up to 1.5 seconds per lap faster than Red Bull's best projections from preseason testing in Bahrain, an advantage so seismic that it could effectively end the title fight before it even begins. To put this into context, a typical Grand Prix distance of 58 laps at Albert Park would see Hamilton finishing almost an entire pit stop ahead of Verstappen, with Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren rendered completely helpless. Such a performance gap is not just an advantage, it is a sporting earthquake, one that could shatter the very balance of the championship and force the FIA into an emergency response, sparking rule revisions, protests, and possibly even an attempt to retroactively alter the regulations. But Ferrari is playing a calculated game, one that they believe will secure an insurmountable lead before anyone can react. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. Inside Ferrari's highly restricted research and development wing, the secret project has been given a code name, Project 44, a not-so-subtle reference to Hamilton's iconic race number and an internal acknowledgement that this is the ultimate statement of intent. The individuals working on this project operate under conditions that border on military-grade secrecy. No documents are stored on external devices. No engineer is allowed to discuss their work outside designated areas. Even within Ferrari's headquarters, most employees have no idea what is being developed. The few granted access to the project have been vetted extensively, their every move monitored to ensure absolute discretion. But what exactly is Ferrari hiding? The answer lies in a multifaceted aerodynamic breakthrough so sophisticated that it fundamentally redefines the way airflow interacts with the chassis. While Red Bull has perfected its ground effect mastery, Ferrari has pioneered a system that actively manipulates the aerodynamic balance of the car in real time, without violating the FIA's restrictions on movable aerodynamic components. It is a concept so subtle that it is nearly invisible to the naked eye, yet its effects are game-changing. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. At the core of this concept is a revolutionary active cooling system, which redirects airflow in a way that allows the car to switch between low drag, high-speed efficiency and maximum downforce stability instantaneously. This means Hamilton and Leclerc will effectively be driving a car that morphs its aerodynamic profile mid-corner, offering straight-line speed advantages over Red Bull while maintaining superior cornering grip against McLaren and Mercedes. However, the true game-changer is in Ferrari's radically reworked power unit. For years, Ferrari's hybrid system has played catch-up to Mercedes and Red Bull, but for 2025, their engineers have devised a method to exploit a newly discovered loophole in the MGUK deployment regulations. While other teams optimize energy recovery for a smooth distribution of power over a lap, Ferrari's system stores excess energy and deploys it in unpredictable bursts, creating an acceleration advantage at the most critical overtaking points. This means that Hamilton and Leclerc will have access to an unprecedented power boost just when their rivals least expect it, rendering traditional DRS-assisted overtakes practically useless. In practice, this will make side-by-side battles against a Ferrari virtually unwinnable. If a Red Bull or Mercedes manages to close the gap on a straight, Ferrari's energy deployment will ensure they regain their lead before the next braking zone. The system is so finely calibrated that, in a simulated head-to-head duel against Verstappen, Hamilton was able to defend position without using DRS, relying solely on power deployment and aerodynamic efficiency, something that has never been achieved in the modern hybrid era. Ferrari's race strategists have already begun working on full-season simulations, and the numbers are terrifying. In Melbourne, Ferrari anticipates a minimum 30-second gap to second place, barring major safety car interventions. In Jeddah, a power-dependent circuit, Hamilton could realistically lap the entire midfield before the final stint. And in Suzuka, one of the most aerodynamically demanding tracks in the world, the simulation suggests that Ferrari could gain an entire second per lap through the SEs alone, an advantage that would make overtaking them virtually impossible for any other team. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. But Ferrari knows that once this advantage becomes obvious, the counterattack from their rivals will be swift and merciless. Red Bull, armed with the analytical genius of Adrian Newey, will scrutinize every single frame of Ferrari's onboard footage, searching for clues. Mercedes, despite being in a rebuilding phase, will immediately push for FIA intervention, demanding rule clarifications and potential mid-season adjustments. McLaren, whose aggressive 2025 development program has already raised eyebrows, will accelerate their own upgrade package, looking for ways to counter Ferrari's newfound dominance. But Ferrari has designed this move with perfect timing. By the time the FIA reacts, by the time Newey deciphers the secrets, by the time Mercedes files their first protest, Hamilton and Leclerc could already be too far ahead for it to matter. And then, there's the dynamic within Ferrari itself. Leclerc, the golden child of Maranello, has endured years of heartbreak, suffering from misjudged strategies, misfiring upgrades, and missed opportunities. Now, for the first time in his career, he has a machine capable of delivering a championship. But Hamilton is here now. He has come to do what Schumacher once did, to turn Ferrari into an unstoppable force. Will they work together, securing Ferrari's first Constructors' Championship in nearly 2 decades? Or will their rivalry ignite internal warfare, mirroring the explosive battles of Senna Prost and Rosberg Hamilton? The motorsport world remains oblivious to what is about to unfold. The media continues to focus on the usual narratives. Can Red Bull sustain their dominance? Is McLaren a true contender? Can Mercedes recover? But none of these questions will matter if Ferrari executes its plan flawlessly. Because when the lights go out in Melbourne, everything will change. The paddock will be thrown into disarray. The rival team radios will be filled with disbelief. The shockwaves will be felt across the entire championship. Ferrari's SF25 is not just a new chapter in their storied history. It is a revolution in engineering, a meticulously crafted masterpiece designed to challenge the very limits of performance under the FIA's strict regulations. With a philosophy that seamlessly blends aerodynamic brilliance, mechanical ingenuity, and strategic precision, the Scuderia has built a machine that has the entire paddock on edge. The SF25 is the result of years of relentless innovation, countless hours in wind tunnels, and an obsessive focus on every microscopic detail that could yield even the slightest competitive advantage. It is a machine not just built to compete but to dominate, a car designed to dethrone Red Bull and rewrite the pecking order in Formula One. At the core of Ferrari's technical revolution is a trio of groundbreaking innovations, each meticulously fine-tuned to exploit every possible loophole in the current rulebook. The first game-changing advancement lies in their reimagining of the rear diffuser, an area of the car that has become a battleground for aerodynamic superiority. While the FIA's regulations under Article 3.7 place strict limitations on how teams can manipulate airflow in this region, Ferrari's aerodynamicists have found an ingenious workaround. By making subtle yet impactful adjustments to the lower extremities of the diffuser, they have been able to enhance rear downforce without suffering the traditional penalties of increased drag. The brilliance of this modification lies in its legality. While other teams have adhered strictly to the rule's conventional interpretation, Ferrari's engineers have identified a previously overlooked nuance in the wording that allows them to extract superior aerodynamic performance without falling foul of the regulations. The benefits of this innovation are immediate and transformative. A more efficient diffuser means that the SF25 can maintain higher speeds through fast corners, allowing drivers like Lewis Hamilton to push the car to its absolute limits without experiencing rear instability. The increased downforce not only improves cornering speeds but also reduces tire wear, ensuring that Ferrari's long-run pace is significantly stronger than in previous seasons. In the world of Formula One, where tenths of a second can be the difference between victory and defeat, this seemingly minor innovation has the potential to completely alter the competitive landscape. But Ferrari's aerodynamic wizardry doesn't end with the diffuser. The second major breakthrough comes in the form of their ride height control system, a mechanical masterpiece that allows the SF25 to adapt dynamically to varying track conditions without violating the FIA's ban on active suspension. While Red Bull previously relied on complex hydraulic solutions to optimize ride height, recent regulation changes have rendered such systems illegal. Ferrari, however, has sidestepped these restrictions with an entirely mechanical alternative, utilizing a sophisticated combination of torsion bars, passive dampers, and reactive linkages that adjust the car's rake based on real-time load distribution. The implications of this development cannot be overstated. A car that can maintain a stable ride height across different track surfaces and cornering conditions is inherently more predictable and efficient. The SF25 remains poised and balanced in high-speed sections, offering drivers supreme confidence to attack without fear of unsettling the rear. Meanwhile, in slow-speed corners, the mechanical system ensures that the car gains crucial traction, allowing for quicker exits and reduced tire degradation. This dual-benefit system means Ferrari has engineered a car that is both aerodynamically efficient and mechanically stable, a rare combination that could prove decisive over the course of a grueling 24-race season. Perhaps the most controversial yet brilliantly executed innovation in Ferrari's arsenal is their pioneering brake cooling system, which serves a dual purpose: managing heat dissipation while simultaneously enhancing aerodynamic flow. Traditionally, brake ducts have been used exclusively to prevent overheating, ensuring that braking performance remains consistent throughout a race. However, Ferrari's technical team has discovered a way to repurpose the airflow generated by these ducts, subtly redirecting residual heat and turbulence to optimize underfloor efficiency. The result? A car that not only maintains optimal braking performance but also benefits from improved aerodynamic stability. By strategically channeling airflow from the brake ducts toward key aerodynamic surfaces, Ferrari has managed to reduce unwanted turbulence while enhancing overall downforce distribution. The impact of this innovation extends beyond straight-line performance. It ensures that the SF25 remains planted and predictable under heavy braking, providing drivers with unmatched confidence when attacking corners. This system has undergone extensive wind tunnel testing, with data confirming that it offers a tangible performance advantage without breaching regulatory constraints. For Lewis Hamilton, the SF25 represents a seismic shift in driving experience. After 2 seasons of battling unpredictable handling issues and inconsistent balance in the Mercedes W13 and W14, he now finds himself behind the wheel of a machine that aligns perfectly with his aggressive yet precise driving style. The car allows him to brake later, carry more speed through corners, and get on the throttle earlier, maximizing every fraction of a second available. The stability of the rear end, combined with the newfound predictability of the chassis, means Hamilton can extract every ounce of performance without having to make constant mid-corner corrections. Beyond the car itself, Ferrari's approach to race strategy and execution has undergone a complete transformation. The team, long criticized for their erratic decision-making and costly pit-stop miscalculations, has made structural changes to their operations department. A new highly specialized strategy division, composed of key personnel recruited from Red Bull and Mercedes, has been integrated to ensure that race day execution is flawless. One of Ferrari's biggest weaknesses in past seasons was their inability to react swiftly to changing conditions, often hesitating in high-pressure situations and costing themselves valuable points. Now, with an AI-assisted real-time strategy model at their disposal, the team can simulate thousands of potential race scenarios on the fly, allowing them to make data-driven decisions with unparalleled precision. This shift ensures that Ferrari is not just relying on raw speed to win races. They are optimizing every aspect of their racecraft to leave nothing to chance. Ferrari's power unit has also undergone significant refinement. While their previous engine was one of the most powerful on the grid, it suffered from inefficiencies in fuel consumption and thermal management, limiting its effectiveness over long race stints. The latest iteration of the power unit features an improved combustion cycle and a more efficient hybrid energy recovery system, ensuring a more consistent power output throughout a race. The cooling system has also been completely overhauled, addressing past vulnerabilities in high-temperature conditions and providing greater reliability over the course of the season. However, Ferrari's advancements have not gone unnoticed. Red Bull, always the benchmark for innovation, has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to develop countermeasures. Adrian Newey's team is rumored to be experimenting with a radical new rear-wing concept, designed to offset Ferrari's straight-line speed advantages while maintaining Red Bull's signature aerodynamic efficiency. The RB21, though an evolution of its predecessor, is believed to incorporate subtle but crucial modifications to its underfloor structure, aimed at maintaining the team's dominance. Meanwhile, Mercedes has undergone a dramatic philosophical shift, abandoning their ill-fated zero-side pod concept in favor of a more conventional but highly refined aerodynamic package. The early indications suggest that while the W15 is a significant improvement in terms of balance and predictability, the question remains whether it has the raw performance to challenge Ferrari and Red Bull consistently. As the 2025 season opener in Bahrain looms, Formula One finds itself on the precipice of one of the most fiercely contested battles in recent history. Ferrari, armed with a machine engineered to perfection, has set its sights on ending Red Bull's reign. But with Verstappen at the peak of his powers, Red Bull's resilience is not to be underestimated. Mercedes, still searching for their way back to the top, remains a wild card, while McLaren's rapid resurgence suggests they too could play a role in the championship fight. The stage is set. The tension is palpable. The anticipation is electric. And when the 5 red lights go out in Bahrain, the speculation will end, and the truth will be revealed. Formula One is entering a new era, and only the fastest, the smartest, and the most relentless will emerge victorious. The battle for supremacy is about to begin. Ferrari has embarked on a journey of relentless innovation, engineering mastery, and tactical brilliance, determined to reclaim the pinnacle of Formula One. Every microscopic detail of the SF25 has been scrutinized, redesigned, and refined to perfection, with one singular goal in mind: dominance. No stone has been left unturned, no element overlooked. This is not just a car, it is a statement, a declaration of intent, a meticulously crafted machine designed to shift the balance of power in the sport. The true secret weapon of Ferrari's 2025 Challenger, however, lies not in its power unit, not in its aerodynamics, but in an ingenious and highly classified modification, a revolutionary brake cooling duct system that could change the way Formula One races are fought and won. Traditionally, brake ducts serve a single utilitarian purpose: dissipating heat to ensure consistent braking performance throughout a race distance. Yet Ferrari, always seeking an edge, has transformed this essential component into something far greater, something that operates at the intersection of aerodynamics and mechanical efficiency. This sophisticated reconfiguration of the brake cooling system does more than regulate temperatures. It subtly manipulates airflow in a way that enhances rear-end stability, particularly in turbulent air conditions. In modern Formula One, following another car closely has long been one of the most significant challenges due to the loss of aerodynamic efficiency caused by dirty air. The airflow coming off a leading car disrupts the aerodynamics of the pursuing vehicle, reducing downforce and causing unpredictable handling, especially through high-speed corners. But with Ferrari's revolutionary design, Hamilton will have the ability to stay within striking distance of his rivals without suffering the traditional loss of grip. The car's aerodynamic profile has been carefully sculpted to work in harmony with this innovative brake duct system, ensuring that it retains stability even when navigating the chaotic air behind another competitor. If Ferrari's engineers have indeed cracked the code, this could be the single biggest advancement in racecraft we have seen in years, one that allows for aggressive, sustained attacks lap after lap, where others would normally have to back off to preserve tire life and regain balance. Every possible variable has been put to the test in Ferrari's state-of-the-art wind tunnel, with simulations replicating real-world conditions down to the finest detail. The results? Staggering. Ferrari's data confirms that the SF25 is not just an incremental improvement over last year's car, it is a giant leap forward, a technological marvel that outclasses everything currently on the grid. It isn't just fast in qualifying trim, but its performance across an entire race stint is where the real difference lies. The consistency, the ability to maintain optimal pace over a full Grand Prix distance, is what has set off alarm bells throughout the paddock. Inside the halls of Maranello, optimism is at an all-time high. Ferrari's internal analysis suggests that, in Hamilton's hands, the SF25 has the potential to be the single most dominant car in modern Formula One history. They are no longer just aiming for race wins. They are aiming for a level of supremacy that forces the competition to play catch-up from the very first lap of the season. But perhaps the most strategic aspect of Ferrari's approach is not just the car itself, but the timing of their advancements. While Formula One's in-season development is heavily regulated to prevent any team from gaining an unfair advantage, preseason testing operates under a different set of guidelines. As long as any modifications remain within the established technical parameters, Ferrari is under no obligation to disclose the full extent of their innovations before the first race of the season. This provides an invaluable strategic advantage, one that they fully intend to exploit. Until the SF25 takes to the track under race conditions, no other team will have the full picture. Rival teams will not have the time to reverse engineer Ferrari's concepts, nor will they be able to introduce their own countermeasures before the championship is already underway. By the time the rest of the field understands what Ferrari has done, it may already be too late to stop them. The secrecy surrounding this project has been unprecedented. Information is being guarded with military-level security. Only a select few within Ferrari's upper engineering circle have access to the full spectrum of the car's developments. Even among the mechanics and team members, there is an air of mystery surrounding the true capabilities of the SF25. But despite Ferrari's best efforts to keep their secrets locked away, whispers have begun to circulate. Insiders claim that in closed-door testing sessions, Hamilton has already been setting lap times that defy expectations. While official data is tightly controlled, sources within Maranello suggest that his early runs in the SF25 have been nothing short of extraordinary. His ability to extract the absolute maximum from the car, combined with Ferrari's engineering ingenuity, could create a devastatingly effective combination, one that reshapes the competitive landscape of Formula One. Meanwhile, the response from the rest of the paddock has been a mixture of skepticism, curiosity, and underlying concern. Red Bull, the reigning champions and the team that has dominated the last several years, have been eerily silent. This is uncharacteristic for an organization that thrives on psychological warfare, normally boasting about their preseason strength and throwing subtle jabs at the competition. But now, silence. Could this be an indication that they have seen something alarming in Ferrari's early testing data? Do they already suspect that they might be on the back foot heading into the new season? Mercedes finds itself in an equally precarious situation. For years, they dictated the pace of Formula One, setting the standard by which all others were judged. But now, they are watching as the driver who helped them build an empire prepares to bring their fiercest rival back to the top. Toto Wolff has attempted to downplay any notion of concern, insisting that Mercedes remains focused on their own project, but behind closed doors, there is no escaping the growing anxiety. Their driver lineup, while promising, lacks the experience and proven championship-winning pedigree that Hamilton provided. George Russell has demonstrated immense talent, but can he carry a team on his shoulders in the way that Hamilton did? And if Ferrari's rumored pace is genuine, is Mercedes even in a position to mount a serious challenge, or will they be forced into damage limitation for another season? McLaren, coming off the back of an impressive resurgence in the latter half of last season, is also watching Ferrari's developments with keen interest. Lando Norris has spoken optimistically about McLaren's 2025 prospects, but even the most confident assessments acknowledge that if Ferrari has truly uncovered a new level of dominance, the rest of the grid may already be playing catch-up before the season even begins. Then there's Aston Martin, a team that has invested heavily in both infrastructure and personnel, yet still finds itself just outside the championship conversation. Fernando Alonso, never one to miss an opportunity to stir the pot, has already suggested that Ferrari may be the team to beat. Some view this as classic Alonso mind games, an attempt to shift expectations, but what if he's onto something? What if he has seen enough behind the scenes to recognize that Ferrari's advancements are more than just rumors? With pre-season testing fast approaching, the anticipation is at an all-time high. Every team, every driver, every engineer in the paddock is anxiously awaiting the moment of truth in Melbourne. Will Ferrari's masterstroke deliver the seismic impact they believe it will? Will Hamilton, in his first race with the Scuderia, deliver a statement victory that sends shockwaves through the sport? Or will the other teams scramble to close the gap before Ferrari runs away with the championship? Formula One has witnessed eras of dominance before, but what Ferrari is attempting to do goes beyond winning. It's about reshaping the DNA of competition itself. If the numbers emerging from Maranello are accurate, if the whispers of their raw pace hold true, and if Hamilton unlocks the full potential of this machine, we may be on the cusp of one of the most defining seasons in the sport's history. The tension is unbearable. The speculation is reaching a boiling point. The engines are about to roar to life. And as the world watches, Ferrari stands on the verge of a potential new golden era, an era that could cement their legacy, break records, and redefine the very meaning of dominance in Formula One. The tension in the Formula One paddock was no longer just a subtle undercurrent. It was an electrified force hanging in the air, thick with anticipation, speculation, and the unmistakable scent of uncertainty. The entire grid had spent the winter months obsessing over simulations, refining every component of their machines, hunting for every marginal gain that could shift the balance of power. But despite all the work done behind the scenes, despite the endless hours spent in wind tunnels and on simulators, there was one team that had managed to stay completely off the radar, one team that had found something no one else had seen. Deep inside the high-security corridors of Maranello, the atmosphere was unlike anything the team had experienced in over a decade. It wasn't just the usual pre-season excitement, it was something more potent. The realization that for the first time in years, they might have something revolutionary, something that could not just close the gap to Red Bull but obliterate it. And the man at the center of it all? Lewis Hamilton. He had walked into the heart of Ferrari's engineering fortress with the weight of 7 world championships behind him, carrying the kind of experience that made him more than just a driver. He was a weapon. But even he hadn't expected this. The moment he sat down in the briefing room, staring at the array of telemetry screens and simulation projections in front of him, he knew something was different. Across the table, Jacques Clear, one of Ferrari's most seasoned performance engineers, leaned forward, fingers tapping against the table in a rhythmic pattern, a subconscious tick that betrayed the gravity of what he was about to reveal. The data didn't lie. Every number, every wind tunnel correlation, every metric was pointing in the same direction. Ferrari had built the fastest Formula One car they had produced in over a decade. Hamilton exhaled slowly, his mind racing through the possibilities. He had spent years waging war against Ferrari in his silver Mercedes, carving his legacy in battles where he was always just one step ahead of them. But now, everything had changed. He wasn't looking at Ferrari as an adversary anymore. He was at the very core of their operation, about to pilot the machine that could turn the entire competitive order on its head. His expression barely shifted, but there was something in his eyes, something calculating, something sharp. A slight smirk tugged at the corner of his lips as he finally spoke. "If this works," he murmured, his voice carrying the weight of absolute certainty, "they won't see it coming." Silence stretched across the room. No one needed to respond. They all knew what was at stake. This wasn't just about Ferrari clawing their way back into contention. It wasn't just about winning races. This was about rewriting the script of the sport entirely. The project had been kept under tighter wraps than any Ferrari development in modern history. Only a handful of senior engineers had full clearance to access the confidential files detailing the intricate technical innovations built into the SF-25. Every component, every aerodynamic element, every subtle tweak that had been designed to exploit a loophole in the regulations was hidden from prying eyes. The mechanics in the garage worked like ghosts in the night, their movements precise, their instructions delivered in hushed tones. The garage had been placed under strict lockdown, no unauthorized personnel, no unnecessary communication, no digital footprint that could give anything away. Across the paddock, the whispers were already starting. At Red Bull, Christian Horner was beginning to sense that something was off. He had been in the sport long enough to recognize when a rival team was operating in the shadows, crafting something dangerous. His technical team had been combing through the FIA's updated regulations for weeks, trying to identify any potential vulnerabilities that could be exploited. But despite their best efforts, they hadn't found anything yet. Adrian Newey, the mastermind behind Red Bull's aerodynamic supremacy, wasn't taking any chances. He had spent decades outmaneuvering rule changes, crafting championship-winning cars out of the smallest of loopholes. If Ferrari had truly discovered something groundbreaking, he needed to know what it was before it was too late. Meanwhile, at Mercedes, the unease was different. Toto Wolff, ever the composed strategist, was beginning to hear murmurs from within the paddock that Ferrari's secrecy wasn't just paranoia, it was calculated. The W15 had been developed with the singular goal of reclaiming their dominance, of finally bringing an end to Red Bull's reign. But now, something was shifting. And Hamilton? He was staying silent. He had spent too long in this sport to tip his hand. Let them wonder. Let them analyze every lap time, every test run, every telemetry reading. He had already driven the car in the simulator. He had already felt the potential simmering beneath the surface. He knew exactly what Ferrari was about to unleash. Then came the moment of truth. A private test session. No cameras. No press. No outsiders. Just Ferrari's core team and one of the most radical machines ever developed by the Scuderia. Fiorano was shrouded in darkness, the floodlights casting long shadows across the pit lane. The car sat motionless, its bodywork gleaming under the artificial light, waiting to be unleashed. The mechanics moved with surgical precision, every adjustment, every final check executed flawlessly. Hamilton climbed into the cockpit, his hands instinctively finding their place on the steering wheel, his fingers brushing over the buttons and dials with practiced ease. The radio crackled to life. Systems are optimal. You're clear to go. No hesitation. No second thoughts. Hamilton floored the throttle. The Ferrari launched down the pit lane, its rear tires gripping the asphalt with an almost unnatural level of traction. The telemetry screens in the garage exploded with data as the engineers tracked every millisecond of performance. Sector 1, lightning quick. Sector 2, jaw-dropping. Sector 3, unbelievable. By the time Hamilton tore through the final corner, the pit wall was frozen in a mixture of awe and barely contained excitement. The numbers on the monitors told the entire story. The car wasn't just quick. It was game-changing. Hamilton's voice came through the radio, his tone laced with a mixture of exhilaration and absolute confidence. I think we've got something special here. Inside the Ferrari garage, there was no overt celebration, no wild reactions, only a quiet, knowing exchange of glances. They knew what they had. They knew that when this car arrived in Melbourne, the rest of the grid wouldn't be prepared for what was about to hit them. Red Bull was still in the dark. Mercedes was still guessing. The FIA had no idea what was coming. And by the time the first race weekend began, the only thing the rest of the paddock would be able to ask themselves was, how the hell did we not see this coming? Ferrari is pulling the strings behind the scenes, orchestrating a masterstroke that could shake the very foundations of Formula One. While the rest of the grid operates in plain sight, fine-tuning their setups and optimizing their aerodynamics, the Scuderia is playing an entirely different game. Behind the closed doors of Maranello, buried within layers of secrecy, lies an innovation so groundbreaking that, once revealed, it could leave Red Bull, Mercedes, and the FIA scrambling for answers. This isn't just a minor adjustment, not a routine upgrade or a clever tweak to the bodywork. This is a revolution hidden in plain sight, a seismic shift in engineering that could turn the competitive hierarchy on its head. Ferrari has done what so many have tried and failed to accomplish: unearth a loophole so profound, so brilliantly disguised within the regulations, that it may be impossible to challenge before it's too late. For years, Red Bull has been the benchmark in innovation, mastering the art of exploiting gray areas in the rulebook, stretching the limits of legality without stepping over the line. But for the first time in the modern era, the hunters have become the hunted. Ferrari isn't just catching up, they're rewriting the rules of engagement, forcing everyone else into a game of reaction rather than domination. Meanwhile, Red Bull exudes confidence. Their RB21 is another masterpiece from the mind of Adrian Newey, an evolution of an already unbeatable formula. Verstappen, relentless and unyielding, remains convinced that his reign at the top will continue unchallenged. The team is so assured of their superiority that they see no immediate threat. And that's exactly what Ferrari wants. Because what Red Bull doesn't realize is that the tides are turning. Slowly. Quietly. Inevitably. If Ferrari's development remains unchecked, if the FIA fails to react in time, the first race in Melbourne won't just be the start of another season. It will be a paradigm shift in how the sport is fought and won. The paddock is filled with speculation. Engineers whisper behind closed doors, rival teams analyzing every pixel of Ferrari's on-track behavior, desperately searching for answers. Could the Scuderia have discovered a way to manipulate airflow in a manner never before seen? Have they cracked the code to an energy recovery system so efficient that their hybrid power unit can operate at peak performance far longer than anyone else's? Or have they reimagined suspension technology, allowing their car to dynamically adjust ride height, maximizing grip in a way that no one anticipated? The mystery is what makes it so dangerous. Testing data has only added fuel to the fire. Ferrari isn't revealing their full hand. Their times? Misleading. Their tire choices? A smokescreen. Their long-run pace? A riddle wrapped in a deception. Every session, every stint, every run is part of a larger strategy designed to keep their competitors guessing. While Red Bull and Mercedes push for outright lap times, Ferrari is playing chess, setting up a move so devastating that by the time their rivals realize what's happening, the checkmate will already be in motion. And Lewis Hamilton knows it. The 7-time world champion, a man whose career has been defined by moments of brilliance and battles at the very peak of the sport, can feel it in his bones. He has driven dominant cars before. He knows what it's like to sit behind the wheel of a machine that makes winning feel effortless. But this feels different. This feels like destiny. Hamilton didn't leave Mercedes just for a fresh start. He came to Ferrari for a final chapter worthy of his legacy. And now, as he sits in the SF25, as he processes every piece of data, every subtle advantage Ferrari has unlocked, he knows that this could be the opportunity he's been waiting for. This isn't just about winning races. This is about rewriting history, about proving that he can still stand atop the mountain, even against the most dominant force Formula One has seen in years. And yet, the most unsettling part for Red Bull is this: Ferrari hasn't even activated full power yet. Their entire testing program has been an elaborate deception, a carefully curated display of misdirection designed to hide the full extent of their potential. While the rest of the grid fights for every tenth of a second, Ferrari is simply gathering information, refining their secret weapon, ensuring that when it finally gets unleashed, it will be unstoppable. But can the FIA afford to let this stand? Formula One has seen this before. The Braun GP double diffuser. The Mercedes DAS system. Red Bull's blown diffuser era. Each time, an innovation so powerful was discovered that the FIA had no choice but to intervene. If Ferrari's breakthrough is as game-changing as the speculation suggests, it's only a matter of time before the governing body is forced to act. The question is, will they react before or after Ferrari has already secured a lead too large to overcome? Time is running out for Red Bull. Their engineers are in overdrive, analyzing every bit of telemetry, dissecting every lap Ferrari has completed, searching for any clue that might reveal their secret. But what if they're looking in the wrong place? What if Ferrari's advantage isn't something that can be seen on an aerodynamic scan or in a telemetry readout? What if the key to their success lies within the most fundamental elements of how their car interacts with the track? If Ferrari's plan works, the psychological devastation on the rest of the field will be catastrophic. Red Bull, accustomed to dictating the terms of engagement, could find themselves in an unfamiliar position, chasing rather than leading. Mercedes, still struggling to reclaim their former glory, may realize that their recent progress means nothing if Ferrari has already moved the goalposts. And Verstappen? For the first time since 2021, he could find himself on the back foot, no longer the unchallenged ruler of the sport, but a competitor forced to fight tooth and nail just to keep up. But what if Red Bull has been holding something back? What if, within the intricate design of the RB21, lies a countermeasure waiting to be deployed? Could Newey have anticipated this, crafting a last-minute adaptation capable of nullifying Ferrari's advantage? If Red Bull has an ace up their sleeve, Melbourne could become a battlefield unlike anything we've seen before, a direct clash of innovation, strategy, and raw performance. One thing is certain: Formula One is about to witness a moment that will define its future. This is more than just another season. This is a collision course between two titanic forces, a fight that will reshape the sport's hierarchy. The rivalry between Verstappen and Hamilton, already one of the most intense in history, is about to reach a new level. And Ferrari, after years of frustration and missed opportunities, may finally have the weapon they need to reclaim their place at the summit. The lights will go out in Melbourne soon. And when they do, the world will see the truth. Will Ferrari's masterstroke be enough to dismantle Red Bull's empire? Will the FIA step in before the damage is done? Or is Red Bull about to counter with a revelation of their own? The countdown has begun. The anticipation is electric. The stakes have never been this high. And make no mistake, this is only the beginning.